Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm gonna tell you all my USMLE Step 1 timeline and how I completed the steps before graduation. So if you're new here, I'm Ishwari. I graduated from Zhejiang University 2 months back and I'm applying for the match this year. If you're interested in medical videos, quizzes, and in knowing everything about the USMLE, make sure you subscribe to my channel. The MBBS course at my university is 6 years long. The first year is a pre-medical year, and the second, third, and the first half of fourth year included preclinical subjects. Clinical subjects began from the end of fourth year and went all the way till the end of sixth year. The surgery and the internal medicine course were divided into 3 parts at my university, so some of those things were incorporated in third year and the start of fourth year as well. So I took USMLE Step 1 in the first semester of year 5. That was in 2019 October. Year 1 was pre-medical, so I didn't start my USMLE prep at that time. My actual medical subject started in year 2 semester 1, and this was the time when I was pretty clueless as to how to approach the USMLE, so I used to majorly focus on my university study material and textbooks and maybe a few Kaplan books, but I didn't really have a proper plan to approach the USMLE at that time. That's the major reason why I'm creating this video, so that it's easier for y'all and y'all have the knowledge beforehand and y'all can plan better. I officially started my preparation in the second semester of year 2. So that's when I started watching Kaplan videos. Now I started watching these videos simultaneously with what was being taught at university. Like for example, if in today's lecture they taught us about Klinefelter syndrome, I would go back to my dorm and watch the video on Klinefelter syndrome from Kaplan and then study from my university study material. So that way my knowledge was solidified from both sides, the USMLE side as well as my university side. Now I started this only in the second year of the second semester. So my second year's first semester still had subjects like biochemistry and systemic anatomy, and those were the subjects for which I hadn't watched videos yet. So during the summer break, that was in July 2017 to September 2017, I utilized the time to do all the videos for the subjects from year 2 semester 1. So that way I felt I was sort of up to date with everything that was taught at uni, and from the next semester I was able to plan it much better. My university gives us a teaching plan before every semester begins, so I was able to see when each subject is going to be taught, and accordingly I scheduled my Kaplan videos so that my simultaneous learning is well planned out for this semester. And some days, instead of coming back and viewing Kaplan videos, I used to watch the videos the morning before the lessons. Usually my lessons either started at 8 a.m. or they started at 9:50 a.m. So it was a great idea because I was able to listen to things passively and then immediately go to class and be taught about the same thing by the lecturer. So this was like you're learning it twice and you're learning it better this way, and everything the lecturer tells you will make complete sense. And if you have any doubts, even from the video or from the lecture, you can get all of them clarified from your teacher. So I think this was something that really helped me in year 3. And by doing this, since most of my work was done in class, when I came back I could just focus on questions. In third year first semester I had pathology and I had mixed reviews about pathoma at that point. A lot of people said pathoma was not helpful, some of my seniors said pathoma was very helpful, so I decided to stick to Kaplan, which I feel I shouldn't have done. I honestly like them way more than Kaplan videos for pathology. Then in 2018 was when I had year 3 semester 2. Pharmacology was something that a lot of people feared, including me. But by watching Kaplan videos, I was able to understand the actual mechanism of things, and it didn't feel like I'm actually just mugging things up. So that way I feel these videos give you a deeper insight to subjects, and that gives you a better understanding, and on a whole you'll be able to enjoy learning these topics as well. Again, at this point I used only Kaplan for pharmacology, and I wish I could have also used Sketchy Pharm for this because I discovered that much later and that helped me a lot. So I don't know if the outcome would have been better had I used that earlier in this semester. So that was one thing. If you can, maybe try doing Kaplan in the morning go to your lecture, learn that topic, come back home and do sketchy farm for it, or leave sketchy farm for the weekends to sort of brush up on all the drugs that you learned about this week. Comes the summer holidays between July 2018 to September 2018. This was the longest break I had before my preclinical exam. Between the transition from preclinical to clinical, we have to take the first part of our graduation exam, which is called the preclinical exam. That tests us on all the medical topics from year 2 of medical school, including anatomy, biochemistry, immunology, and everything, which is pretty similar to how USMLE does it. The main difference, however, was the fact that this exam was way shorter than the USMLE. This was 4 hours with 200 questions overall. So this was the time I wanted to cover everything that was left over. Here's the deal, like when you're studying for the USMLE, you need to know that if this is your school syllabus, this is the USMLE. Most of the things will end up overlapping, which is great. This is going to help you for both the exams, but you need to know that there are some things that the USMLE does not cover, but your university might require you to take. There were many things that my uni required that were extra subjects, and at the same time, even USMLE has a bunch of extra things that you have to learn. Let's say your university teaches you about 100 microorganisms. The USMLE might still have like 2 or 3 extra stuff that may be super rare, but you still need to know it for the USMLE. So these are certain things that do not overlap. So this summer holiday, I wanted to make use of it to just make up for all the remaining things that my university didn't cover. So my schedule honestly was very chill. I'd start studying after lunch, which was basically around, let's say, from 1 o'clock to about 5 o'clock. And after 5, I used to just go for walks, meet people, and then watch TV and just relax. Then came the next semester. That was a very chill semester because my university didn't load us a lot because they knew that we have the preclinical exam coming up at the end of this. So they kept relatively light subjects, but we did have surgery this time. I used to study from my university's study material and then use first aid as a reference to just see if I'm able to connect it with the USMLE syllabus. Then in February 2019, that's when my preclinical exam took place, and once that was done, I was pretty satisfied with the result, and that sort of gave me confidence and gave me that additional push to register for the USMLE. I registered in April. So once this exam was over, I took about, I think, a week off. And after this, I started my USMLE prep with full force. This was the most challenging semester because we had clinical rotations. We had like huge subjects like internal medicine, surgery, OBGYN, you name it. It was very hard because I was doing that plus UWorld. This was the time I discovered Pathoma and Sketchy. So I was like, okay, let's try to fit everything together. And I was also watching Kaplan videos for step 2 because those covered the clinical aspects of medicine, and that was what was being taught at university, and I wanted to understand OBGYN, all of that really well. Sometimes you'll have to go really early to the hospital, right? So what I did was I used to use public transport. So while I was in the bus, I used to watch these Kaplan videos before going, and then I would go, complete my lecture, finish everything, come back home, and then finish learning from the PPT that was given to me on that particular day. Once that was done, I would sit with UWorld and keep first aid with you so that you can simultaneously look at things and are able to connect everything. Then came the summer holidays of 2019. Even my dad was very enthusiastic about this, to look up videos and blogs, and he told me about Anki, and that's when I started making flashcards. I finished my UWorld first pass around the end of July. Then I started UWorld second pass, maybe like the first or second week of August. I used to do NBMEs at least once a week, and then I used to check what my weaknesses were and figure out how to address those gaps. So when I took the exam, first aid was close to 653 pages. I used to do, I think, around 15 pages of first aid per day, and I'd go through every word, every sentence, and if there's anything I didn't know, I put it into a flashcard. Anki was super helpful at that point because it really helped with all the spaced repetition. within like 1.5 to 2 months, I was able to complete the entire first aid and then simultaneously do my flashcards as well. And every night, like, my dad used to ask me questions. These were random questions, and this was done even in the previous semester and even during my 2 month summer break. So that was also like super helpful for me. So in September, I was majorly doing just my flashcards and the rapid review series from first aid, and I was also focusing on the first 3 chapters of Pathoma, and I was still watching videos for topics that I felt I was not 100% confident in. And if you want to know what these resources are, I've created a separate video explaining what they are and how I use them. I took UWSA 2 and I took NBME 23. Those were the last 2 tests that I took just before my exam. Since there was no Prometric Center in my city, I had to go to Beijing. So I left to Beijing on the 12th and took the exam on the 14th and came back on the 15th of October. If your university does not have this pre-medical year, you can very well start your prep from first year of medical school. I just want to tell that this journey is different for everybody, and what works for one person may not work for someone else, and this was just me telling you what worked for me. Honestly, it can be a little hard to achieve your everyday goals on a daily basis, especially when university may have events that keep coming up. For example, you may not be able to complete a PPT today because you have student council work, or you may not be able to complete watching a particular video because of sports practice. And some days you're just tired and you just don't feel like studying, and all that is completely fine because we're all human beings and this is bound to happen. So my schedule was in such a way that I was pretty strict with the work I did. At the same time, I had enough flexibility so that I could incorporate the things that weren't under my control as well. Once in every 2 weeks, I had this thing called buffer day. So I wouldn't have anything planned for that particular day, and it was purely used to complete all the backed up work. And if I was able to complete all my work on time in the last 2 weeks, then the buffer day was just a chill day for me to just relax. And sometimes if I felt like, I would try to complete the next day's work on that day, depending on the amount of motivation I have. So this way you'll have a very smooth semester. And always just before the exam, I think about a week before the exam, I stop all my USMLE stuff. I focus only on the university study material, university question banks and everything related to university stuff, because uni exam is the short-term goal at that point. That's about it for this video. If you found this useful and want more USMLE content, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and leave your comments. And also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.